Okay, so we're going to show you how to log into your manager account. Your manager account, as you can see from the link just at the top here, is actually a Flow MS login. The difference between this login and your learner account, the learner accounts are actually under a MapHal link and not a Flow link. So that's the two differences. Flow link is a manager's account and a MapHal link is a learner account. How are you going to log in? You're going to log in with your email address, your camp email address, as you can see here. We're just using Berkhamsted. And then we're going to log in with your password. Now, some of these passwords were changed back in Easter, so some of them might be slightly different, but generally for your camp, the password would be Beaumont1 with a capital B and an exclamation mark at the end. Okay, this now brings you to the main dashboard. As you can see, in the top right, it tells you how many learners are under this centre. So currently there's 11. And then also this is your main dashboard page. So here you can actually click in and have a look at compliance for your team. So it's nice and easy, and it's a really quick overview to see who's completed the modules and who is still outstanding. So that's a really good thing. On the top, we'll just click back into dashboard. Also on here, you've noticed there are two areas, My Career Journeys requiring reviewer and My Career Journeys awaiting review. Just ignore the last box because the main box we're going for is the center box here. Now, this is where the observation journeys will be assigned to your team. And this is the overall title. So how we get in is really simple again, just like the compliance, we'll just click straight into the middle box. As you can see here, now it will bring up a list of your team with the My Performance and Development Journey observation journey form assigned to you just here. Okay, so let's click into one of these and we'll show you the form and the format. When you click in to one of your team members' names, so we've got Jacob here, what is this now brings you into the overview of his actual account. As you can see here, it's got name, it's got his email address, etc. It says his account has been added. Also down the side, we have a menu on the left-hand side that brings you to an overview, which is this particular page, which tells you all of his personal information. We also have modules, which tells you exactly what they need to do, any external training that's been completed, and then the main area that you'll need to go into next is My Career Journeys. This is where the observation form is held and kept. So as you can see here, this is the main page for the observation journey. The status is currently incomplete. It doesn't have a due date against it, no completion date, and no reviewer name either. So what we're going to do is click into the form. This now is the main access to this particular form. We have the details page just at the top here. This is where now you can add in the date, for example. So our advice would be on your camp setup days, if you have a list of your team, this is where you can then start to book those observations in with your team. It's a really good exercise and best practice to try and get all of that all organised before camp starts, because we know that camp is extremely busy going forward. So having that time to do your initial setup before the busy period comes is best practice. So again, there's some buttons down here. So if you would like to book it now, if you press now, as you can see, the date is the 23rd, and it has come up with the exact time as well, which is 12:57, which is quite handy if you'd like to book it straight away. If not, please use the calendar as you can see at the top, and then use the drop down arrows for the time. But please bear in mind that this is all into one. So if you press done, you'll only have the date and won't have the time. Please bear in mind that it starts off very early in the morning just here, so try not to book your team member in at 3 o'clock in the morning. That has happened on previous occasions. So Just need to make sure it's a nice, sensible time. And another thing is, if it doesn't happen on that exact date or at that exact time, do not panic and do not worry. And also tell the person that you're observing not to worry, because actually it may just be the case that you may need to pick that up on a different day, on a different time. But as long as you have something in place to say that's booked, that's the only thing that we are looking for. So we're going to now press done. If you would like to add in any additional notes, you can do here. For example, if you say, I will be coming across to see your activity, or let's meet afterwards and we can have a chat through whatever information you think is relevant that you need to put in there is what you need to do. The next thing at the bottom is trainee can see comments. Now, this is really important because what we're trying to do is be really incredibly transparent to our team members so they can see how they've done throughout their observation. So what we're going to do is we're going to click it from cross to a tick, which now means that anything that you input into the observation form, they will be able to see on their side in their learner account. Okay. Now here is where you will pop in your camp manager name. So it won't be your own personal name because your training manager accesses are set up via camp manager. It says camp manager and then it says your particular camp, as you can just see here. This is really key and important, so we know that you as a camp manager have actually booked that information in. Once this is done, we have the form that says saved here, which is nice, so it does auto save for us. But then also we have a manual save as well. So for the manual save, again, this is a backup if the autosave fails. So what we would like you to do is actually click save. And as you can see here, as soon as you click save, this will actually trigger any email notifications to your learner. So what this is now saying in the email they receive is just to say that an observation has been booked. So this time round, for the sake of a training, I'm not going to send an email notification to that person. So once that's done, that information will be saved. So if we can imagine it's camp setup day and you have done literally booked everybody and that part is now done. Now camp is running, this is now where you can go, right, we're now going to go and do an observation on, for example, Jacob, who we've got open just here. So in order to input all of your observations that you can see, we're going to click into responses just here. I'm going to click on the drop down arrow because I just want to show you some of the categories that we actually have within this form. So the first one that automatically opens up is the observations. The next part is actually around our behaviours. And this is that B on a 10. We then have the overall rating and some of the development, and then there is a chance for you to pop in your comments, and there is also a chance for your team member to put in comments for them as well. So let's look through the different categories. So we will open up. It's structured just the same as everybody. If anybody's seen the Google form that we used to do, it's keeping that same language, but we've just transferred it onto here. And actually, this is where you can then start to select. So anything that has an exclamation mark means it is essential, an essential competency that they need to hit. So these three ones at the top are incredibly important, and you will see as you go down into each particular area where those essential competencies are. So again, this is just like a bit of a tick box. So it doesn't mean if they don't show all of them, then please don't tick all of them. But if they do show the relevant ones, then please do tick those too. And you will go through so on and so forth. As you can see, we have the first one is stretching activities. We have knowledge of safety. This is clearly every single one is an essential competency that they need to hit. So that part is really important, the safety element. We have impressive presentation, listen, engage, learn to manage the group. This is where actually your team member can add in their comments. You can add in your comments here and they can have a chance to add in their comments further down as well. It's really important that when adding in the comments that it is really well structured feedback that for the areas that they need to particularly work on. So it could be the fact that they haven't hit a particular competency because actually maybe they're not suited to that particular age range and that they may need to go into a younger group or an older group. And this is where you can start to actually write down some of the development areas that they need to work on. It doesn't need to be War and Peace. It can just be very much bullet pointed just in here. Okay. And this gives you a little bit of guidance on, for example, what they need to work on. The next area that we need to look on is be on attend. So this is all around our behaviours, as you can see. And this is where you will then select, is a team member constantly punctual and are they constantly prepared? So this is actually really important from the behaviour aspect. We're very good at providing structure and feedback on their actual job role, but we're not very good at actually recognising some of that behaviour and either celebrating it or saying there's actually we need to improve on it. So this is your chance to really bring through and really start to look at their behaviour. So this is all based around our company behaviours. So we have give it your all, know your stuff, keep it simple, own it, make it fun. Okay, so this is where you will then start to define and answer their behaviours just there. The next particular section we have is overall rating and development. So this is where you will now start to add up the competencies that you scored previously on the observations. Now, it is really important. So as you tick through, you will need to go, once you finish, you'll need to go back in and then add up how well they've done through their competencies. And then you will add those in just here. As you can see, it says, please be aware that essential competencies marked with an exclamation mark equals 10. If the team member scores less than 10, a re-observation at the earliest opportunity will need to happen and you will need to report both scores to your area managers. Okay, it is really, really important. And those are your essential competencies, the ones with an exclamation mark. So if they get 10 out of 10 for those, then obviously, let's celebrate success with that. If they are doing well in other areas, but not in their essential competencies, and they only come at 5, that's when you will absolutely need to re-observe. And then once you've added everything up, this is where you will input. So as you can see, 25 plus is exceeding, which is a 4. So that's right up there in the successes. And then we have achieving 20 to 24, which is brilliant. We have 15 to 19. So if they're a new team member, they're really starting to develop and understand, and that's where you can give them a really good sort of structure and let them know what they need to work on. And also, if they are a brand new team member and they've got quite a bit to learn, that's where the 10 to 14s come in. If they are an existing team member and they are then doing 10 to 14s, that's really when you need to get on and fully understand, what the areas that they really need to improve on and how can you do that. Does it mean they need to buddy up with somebody? Do they need to go on a different age range, as we said